Hello and welcome to the Craft Witch Corner where I yap and craft. My name is Dex and my pronouns are he, they. Today is April 1st and it is now my month with Uruz. So month 2 of my 2-year rune journey. Last month was kind of crazy. I feel like I learned a lot and I need a fidget toy. I feel like it seriously positively impacted my life, my thoughts, my views, my practice, and also helped instill a lot of confidence in me for my magical practice as a whole, but also especially for like what I want to do with this rune journey. So very happy. We are now in April and into my month with Uruz. So let's talk about that. As I did state in the last installment of my rune journey series, I am doing the attunement exercise with each rune on the very first day of the month. It took me pretty much exactly the same amount of time to do Fehu's attunement as it did Uruz, so I don't know if that matters, but it's just kind of interesting. I'm not going to talk a whole lot about it, but I do want to say when I did the attunement exercise with Fehu, it was, I would say, like a lot more effortless. Like I think the headspace that I was in and my environmental circumstance on that day was very different than what it was today when I was doing this attunement. Also, they're just very different runes. I feel like I was expecting something very different from Uruz than what I experienced. So it was just, I was a little bit like doubting it, I guess. Like in the moment, I was very resistant. I think that a healthy dose of doubt is really important to not only keep us sane and safe, but also I think to be able to critically analyze what experiences we're having and to help us figure out when there is some level of bias or prejudice that is putting us in a position where we're having certain experiences over others. But I wish I would have been a little bit less resistant and like went into it a little bit more relaxed. Once I got to the point where I was able to like relax into it a little bit more, I did get, I think, everything, but maybe I didn't quite get a feeling, but also I think I was just being a little bit resistant and I was just feeling a little bit anxious generally. So I didn't really get like a feeling, but I did get all of the other senses. It was not at all what I was expecting. But upon like looking at it afterwards and like writing it out, it makes complete sense to me. It's just that I had a different expectation. I'm hoping that in the future with the other runes, I will be able to have learned by that point how to shut down my expectations so that I go into it without expectations, because I don't want to go into it with expectations at all. I just want to let the experience be exactly what it is, whatever that might be. Now we are going to talk about the summary of my 6-month rune journey, the week with Uruz. So the first thing I want to touch on is just before I actually spent my week with Uruz, I had gotten injured and I did a healing spell with Uruz and it was like fucking lickety split, bitch. Like it was very quick to turn around the situation. Yeah, so that is the first observation I made that came from before I actually started my week with Uruz. It is like a very speedy form of healing magic. Uruz is definitely, for me, very physical healing. I think one of the biggest ways that I view Uruz is as the director of energy. Fehu is the seed of potential and Uruz is the director of that and what brings that to like bloom, basically. Throughout the whole week, I kind of realized that like Fehu and Uruz pair together really well and work together really well. And I look forward to continuing to explore that dynamic throughout this month and just the rest of time, I suppose. It really helped me kind of tap into this like inner strength, inner confidence. I am powerful, I am strong, I am capable, and I choose myself. Yes, there is like an outer physical strength aspect to Uruz, but also just that like quiet inner strength of like, I don't need to prove my strength to anyone else. This is for me. This is about me. Surprisingly, going into it, I would have thought that Uruz was much more earth element, but when I was in that week, I felt much more of a fire energy, especially in the idea of the spark of manifestation and spark of motivation. It's a very quickly moving energy to me. It's not super slow, or there's like a groundedness to it and an earthiness to it, but there's also like a speed to it, a quickness. Burn down what needs to die to let life grow up in its ashes. So kind of like the idea of like forest fires, how like there are lots of things that grow after a forest fire that require the forest fire in order to grow. Sometimes we need to do a quick fuck off to everything and then let the new growth come in. In a similar vein as the fire and earth stuff, I really want to explore Uruz's connection with both the rabbit spirit and the snake spirit more. For this month, I will just be exploring its connection with the snake spirit because it is spring and spring is the season of the snake. Come summer, I'm interested to do some more exploration with Uruz and the rabbit. But for now, I really want to dive into the snake thing because I do feel like it's very connected to that in that like fiery energy, that spark of manifestation. Strength is messy, it's bloody, it's tears rolling down your cheeks. Strength is not indifferent. It's choosing to stand up when things aren't right. It's a choice, it's a skill, and it's something that we have to learn. There was like a few days in the 7 days where I was feeling into the inner strength, and strength is a learned skill. I'll definitely be using Uruz for energy workings to combat fatigue. As a very mentally ill and fucking chronically fatigued and chronically stressed person with a lot of fucking CPTSD bullshit. Yeah, I'm like very chronically fatigued. I'm very chronically fatigued, and it's very hard for me to have energy. There's already like a few things that have been helping with that I've been doing medication wise, and when it comes to nutrition and movement, I've already been working on and slightly improved some of that fatigue, but I'm interested to see how I can tap into Uruz to continue to improve that. I really feel like for me, Uruz really taps into all areas of health that are under our control. There's a lot that is not under our control, genetics and environment and just shit that we cannot control in any way, but there's the parts that are like what we choose to put in our bodies and how much we're moving our bodies and getting enough rest and just listening to your body and choosing yourself and taking care of yourself. So I feel like for me, Uruz really, really taps into those different things, and I feel like it was kind of the start of my journey of giving a shit about myself in a lot of ways. This week with Uruz kind of set a lot of things in motion. I am allergic to gluten. I don't have celiac disease, but I am gluten intolerant, and for most of my life, I've chosen to ignore that because who fucking cares? Gluten is so tasty. But it was after or right around my time with Uruz that I decided like, man, this shit is making me feel terrible and I really shouldn't be eating this, so I'm gonna stop. And that was kind of the start of my giving a shit about myself and actually like taking care of myself and making very small tweaks and changes to my life, my nutrition, my movement to be able to build sustainable habits that lead me in a more healthful direction. I prioritize my health, I prioritize my safety, and I prioritize myself. That is like a lot of what Uruz taught me through this week, was just like prioritizing myself and giving a shit about myself. More than I would have expected. In my mind, like Uruz was more of like a healing thing, but like healing, physical healing. Like I would have thought just like, oh, this is something that I would use as a part of like a healing spell. It just kind of unlocked something within me that was very like self-loving, which we love. Uruz really inspired me in like having confidence in my own abilities, not feeling like I need to prove my strength to others, being able to know my inner strength and move based off that rather than trying to seek the validation of others and prove my strength to other people. I'm worth the effort. I feel like Uruz really helped me to actually believe that I'm worth the effort. Like I said, it was kind of the catalyst that led to me actually giving a shit about myself and taking care of myself and making a lot of really important changes to my life and to my habits to show myself that I give a shit about myself. And I would say some words that I would relate heavily to Uruz and kind of what I was learning in those 7 days is resilience, perseverance, and dedication. So yeah, that was my 1 week with Uruz in my 6-month rune journey. And now we're on to 1 month with Uruz. I really look forward to getting to know the energy. I mean, I'm pretty much going to be doing the same things: 4 meditations, 4 spells, an art piece, painting and charging a rock with Uruz, and writing a prayer for Uruz as well. I hope that you enjoy this process of watching me get to know another rune. I am going to talk about my meditation with Uruz. This is the first guided meditation. Although I did not do an actual guided meditation like I did with Fehu, where I recorded myself doing, like, saying all this stuff, I just wrote it out and then remembered it and did it. I just did not really feel like recording myself, so I don't think I'm gonna do that for the rest of them. I'm just gonna write out a meditation and then just do it. As with last time, I'm not gonna say exactly what I visualized or anything like that, but I will reiterate that I used the different psychic hits that I got through the attunement exercise to build this meditation. So I just went with the things that felt most relevant to me and were the easiest to visualize. And then I just said, I summon the rune Uruz and humbly ask for your guidance and wisdom. I just chanted that 3 times and then we got into it. As with the attunement with Uruz, it was very, very different than the one with Fehu and much more difficult. I'm still not sure if that is because the runes are different and my relationship with these 2 runes are different, or if I was just struggling. I'm not really sure. Both the attunement exercise and this meditation with Uruz was very different than my usual clairvoyant experiences that I've had, and I typically am shown images when I'm working with spirits. So I ask for a vision, and it's more what I'm seeing than any other sense. So I use clairvoyance quite regularly, but this was like different than anything that I have experienced, so I don't know. It was like a dark background and then the images were popping up in like sunlight. Normally I see more in color and more like actual visuals. It's not just shadow and then, you know, I don't know. It's not as so much like outlines. Not all of it was exactly like that, but like a lot of it was. I did forget to mention, this took me 17 minutes, by the way. Don't know if that matters or not to anyone, but I do like to include how long it took me. I saw a lot of stuff to do with horses. This is now the 2nd or potentially 3rd time I've basically been working with a spirit and said like, hey, I'm not sure if what I'm seeing is from you or if I'm making this up, like, can you help me? And the spirit was like, who gives a fuck? It's relevant, it doesn't matter. So I thought that was kind of funny. It always kind of makes me laugh a little bit when a spirit is like, who gives a fuck? Just go with it. If it's helpful, it literally doesn't matter if it's from you or me. I feel like once I got that, it was like a lot easier. Like I was more settled in it and I wasn't worried or anxious. I just relaxed much further into the experience. Something I thought was really interesting that I saw was imagery of pricking a finger for blood, which is something I also saw with Rose. I think I did a meditation with Rose and I also saw that there. And later in the meditation, I asked Uruz what it wants in offerings, and one of the things was blood, so I'm sure that was relevant to that. I saw a lot of different things relating to the healer as a member of the community and healing for others. So I would say that is a message, not only for me to work on my community skills and not being so terrified of people so that I can actually be in community with them, but also working on my healing skills for others and not just myself. Uruz is the healer and the warrior. I saw a lot of imagery relating to war and fighting and attacking, protecting oneself, and lots of like canines fighting. I don't know what exactly that means, but I also saw 2 reindeer like fighting each other. Their antlers were getting stuck together. There was just a lot of imagery of horses. Horses by themselves, people riding horses, horseback fighting, and I also saw some like staff imagery as well. What that makes me think is the horse in its relation to the staff, and I can't remember what exactly she said, but this made me want to read Traditional Witchcraft by Gemma Gary again, so I may do that very soon. There's also another spirit communication I've done recently that urged me to read that book again, so I think I'm gonna read that freaking book again because multiple spirits want me to. And then I just thought this was kind of a coincidence, or I don't know, some kind of interesting occurrence. The way that my runic grimoire is set up is I just took an old book, and it's like a moon magic kind of book, whatever, that I never ended up reading, never really cared for. I'm painting over the pages and then just using a Sharpie to write over them so that I can repurpose this book. I noticed while I was in the middle of writing out what happened in this meditation that this is the page about, and I don't think I'm going to pronounce it correctly, but the goddess Hippolyta. And I think I'm pretty sure this is a Greek goddess, but it says, imagine the terrifying battle cries of warrior women on horseback laying their enemies to waste. And I just think it's a little bit too coincidental to ignore that a lot of what I was seeing was like people on horseback fighting, and then it just happens that this is the page that I'm writing that down on. That was really, really interesting to me. The spirit of Uruz has a very like raspy, almost like creepy voice. It's like very creaky. It's not like I was afraid in the moment hearing it. There have been times where I've heard a spirit and I was like, you have a scary voice, I'm feeling scared. But it wasn't like that. It was just like, damn, but you got a creepy voice. But I like that about you. I like that. It was just weird. I did also yesterday write the prayer for Uruz. I'm not going to share it, but oh, that actually reminds me. There was something that I forgot to mention that is also in the prayer. For me, there is a heavy association between Uruz and Seidr. I am really looking forward to exploring that and seeing more what that looks like. Today is April 12th and I have done my second spell with Uruz. So we're going to talk about that. This second spell was my inner strength spell. It went in a very different direction than I expected. I did things that I had not planned on doing. The first thing that I did before I even started the spell was journal about why I don't feel strong and why I don't feel capable. The main point of this spell is for me to be more confident in my own capabilities, so that is the kind of focus of the spell. So that's what I journaled about, why I don't feel capable, what is kind of standing in the way for me. It came back to some very core childhood wounds for me, feeling like I was always fighting for love from my parents. They weren't proud of me for who I was or for my accomplishments. They were just proud of me for things that they wanted me to do. And I just always felt like I was like fighting for love and respect from them. Hey, that's like a hard thing to deal with as a kid. And that has definitely stuck with me. That is kind of the direction that I ended up going. So from that, I picked 3 affirmations to focus on in the spell, and that is, I am proud of my accomplishments. I love every part of myself. I am worthy of respect. By the way, today is also Sunday, so the 2 days that I very, very, very much link to Uruz are Sunday and Tuesday. With Fehu, there was too much. It was very varied, but Sunday and Tuesday are definitely Uruz. I was not planning on doing this, but as I got all my supplies, got all my stuff, sitting in front of the mirror, I went into the meditation, I did the, regular tuning in stuff and entered alpha, and then I just started doing the mind magic exercise. It was not my intention to do that at all. I had a whole plan of what I was going to do, but I just started doing the mind magic exercise, so I was like, I guess this is just what I'm meant to do right now. Cool, whatever. I worked with Uruz, the sun, fire, and the snake cardinal spirit, and I just filled my orb with those energies. Then I saw myself like walking through my life, not being afraid of people. This is something I doubt I've talked about on my channel yet, and in the future maybe we'll have more of a chat about it. Basically, I am absolutely terrified of people. On Friday, I had a session with my therapist, and the main thing that we discussed was how terrified I am of people. And like, I'm agoraphobic. The reason I'm agoraphobic is because I'm terrified of people. When I go outside, if I'm outside somewhere where I'm alone and there's no chance people will be around me, I want to go outside. I go outside regularly. But when I live somewhere or am somewhere that I will run into a lot of people, and especially people that I don't know, I really avoid going outside and I'm very terrified of it. But with Fehu last month, one of the spells I did was a spell to help me get outside more, and it has worked very well. I had already been trying to get outside prior to doing that spell, but now I've gone out every single day. I've walked on the trail by my apartment every single day and felt pretty solid in it. However, what I recently realized was literally every single time someone walks by me, my whole body tenses. My whole body tenses. I feel so afraid. And it doesn't really matter if they're male, female, an adult, a kid, whoever it is, no matter who, no matter what, I am immediately tensed. If I hear footsteps, immediately tense. I feel so afraid. That's something that I'm very, very used to. I think it's been that way for me for a very long time, since I was a child. If I'm by myself in public, anyone walks by me and I am tense, I am afraid, I am feeling very unsafe. There's really good reason for that. I have a lot of trauma and have been abused by many people, unfortunately. But that's something that I really want to work on because I don't want to be so terrified every time I leave the house. Yes, bad things can happen at any point and they can be done by any person, but I don't want to let that hold me back anymore. The reason I say all of that is because while I was doing the mind magic exercise, one of the parts is that you visualize what this spell in fruition looks like. Some of what I was visualizing had to do with walking the trail and being confident and not feeling afraid when people walked by me and being able to just smile and be friendly and feel really comfortable. I just imagine myself just striding along really confidently, feeling comfortable, feeling safe, not worrying about the people around me, as well as various things related to standing up for myself and standing up for what's right and some justice stuff as well. Pulling that inner strength to the surface and being able to walk confidently through my life and feel comfortable being in public. So I guess this is in a way almost an extension of that getting outside spell, because the next part of what I need for that getting outside spell is to feel safe being outside around people. With the orb, I also said each affirmation 3 times, and I wasn't even intentionally doing it, but as I said it, it kind of like whooshed into the orb each time and like embedded itself in the orb. So that was not something I was intentionally visualizing, but it was just happening, and I was just like letting that happen, and I think that will be very effective. I don't know. Anyways, the second part is the part that I actually planned to do. Before starting, I printed a photo of myself and I cut it to fit a frame. I did that and got it all set up in the frame before I started, and it was kind of laid in front of me beside the mirror. And I forgot to mention, I'm forgetting to mention a lot of things. Did I take my meds? I did take my meds. Okay. I was sat crisscrossed in front of my big mirror that I keep right next to my altar, and I had all my items next to me. So I had my figurine of the snake, my Uruz rune, not the one I'm going to make myself, but just the one I have from my rune set that I bought a while ago. I had some red lipstick, and I had a cologne. I think it's the Bourbon cologne by Bath & Body Works that I've had for years and years and years. And then I had some things to give as offerings, which we'll talk about in a bit. And then I had my runic grimoire as well next to me. So when I started, I was already in that meditative state. I took some of the lip stain and I drew Uruz 3 times on the photo of myself, like over the glass. Then I kissed the photo, and then I started saying the affirmations. Again, those affirmations are, I'm proud of my accomplishments, I love every part of myself, I am worthy of respect. Next, I drew Uruz with the lip stain on the mirror in front of me, and using the lip stain again, I wrote those affirmations over the mirror. I don't remember everything I did because I am not the altar that was doing the spell. That was Katra. I don't exactly know who I am right now, but I know that I'm not Katra. So actually, I think I might be Firestorm right now. That's right, I'm definitely Firestorm. Okay. Sometimes it takes a little while to figure out who the fuck I am. But anyways, I was not the one doing it, so I don't have a clear image of all the memories. I just have what I wrote down, and I only had so much space to write stuff down, so I didn't write every single detail. But yeah, I remember there was some chanting, there was the affirmations, and there was just like spending time like looking at myself in the mirror and feeling that strength. And then also I remember we used like 2 different fingers or something to do the writing, and we were just kind of like smearing it on our face as we were going through it. I don't know why, it just felt right. And then towards the end, we just put our thumb in the lip stain and stamped it on the mirror, and then did it and stamped it on the glass of the photo as well. And that was just basically like signing it, sealing it, all of that. And then of course, as always, lots of lips kissing. I don't know why we always do that, but we really like to seal with a kiss. So did that on both the framed photo and on the mirror. Then gave whiskey an offering to the snake, blood an offering to Uruz, and then I had a glass of water that I gave an offering to myself. I charged it with the affirmations. I am proud of my accomplishments. I love every part of myself. I am worthy of respect, and poured energy into it. Poured this energy of Uruz and the sun and fire and the snake, and just this feeling of confidence and strength, and poured that energy in there. And then at the end of the night, tonight, I am going to drink that water. And the plan is specifically to leave this picture on my altar for 7 days. I think I'm gonna end up leaving it on there kind of indefinitely, but at least for the purpose of this spell specifically, leaving this picture on the altar for 7 days, giving an offering of water every single morning, pouring energy into it, saying the affirmations, all that, and then at the end of the night, drinking the water. So for now, that's the plan. We may end up changing some things about it and doing it a little bit differently. I do think that what's going to end up happening is we're going to leave the photo of us on the altar indefinitely and continue to give offerings. I think it's like a chaos magic kind of idea of like self-deification. This is sort of that, but not really. It's more just like, I'm wondering a little bit if this has slightly something to do with being a system, or I don't know. Let me know in the comments if you do this sort of thing or whatever, but kind of pulling back and seeing myself as a separate entity from me, as a separate being from me, makes it much easier for me to take care of myself, to be kind to myself, and like just see myself like a little creature that I need to water. I need to feed. I need to feed him. I need to water him. He needs sunlight to grow. It really takes some of the pressure off of it in a way. It's easier to love yourself and take care of yourself when you create a little bit of distance and view yourself from the perspective of, I'm a human being. I'm a person. I'm not just me. I'm a person. The whole thing took me 30 minutes. Oh, I don't know if I mentioned this. I didn't. The cologne. I sprayed it on the frame of the photo, as well as on the mirror and on myself throughout the spell. So that's how that played into it, and it smelled freaking great. It's a really good cologne. So yeah, anyways, that is all for now. I will be doing another spell on Tuesday, so catch you then. Bye. Hello and welcome to Voice Over Me. I somehow totally forgot to film anything regarding my fourth spell, which was actually a ritual, not a spell, but here I am and I'm going to talk about it for a little bit. So enjoy this really cute picture of a dandelion I took. So I did this ritual on April 15th. I just picked the day that I wanted to do a workout and did it. The goal and the intention for it was to be something really simple and easy and straightforward that I could easily do at any time, even if I did not have very much energy. And the point of the ritual itself is to motivate me to work out and give me the energy that I need to do so. Because the biggest reason I have had such a hard time being consistent with working out is that I'm just way too tired and cannot motivate myself to give enough of a fuck to get up and do a workout instead of doing something more low energy and fun. So to start, I did my psychic prompt to enter alpha, and then I lit Freya's deity candle, and I told her that this workout would be an offering dedicated to her. Then I channeled the energies of Uruz and Mars, and I did the workout. I also used the affirmation, I enjoy the feeling of my body becoming stronger when I exercise. When I finished the workout, I grounded those energies, exited alpha, blew out Freya's deity candle, and I took a shower. I used a rosemary cleansing ice cube that I have made to cleanse myself in the shower as well. In terms of outcome, I have now done this workout ritual 4 times, and I found it incredibly effective. It was very simple, very easy, very straightforward. I really enjoyed it. It definitely helped motivate me. Normally, I would try to do a workout and I would just be like, fuck, I don't want to do this anymore. But I actually had the motivation and the energy, and I won't say that I loved it and it was the most awesome, cool, fun thing I've ever done in my life, because like there are other ways I prefer to spend my time, but I at least had the energy to do the workout and have had the energy to do 3 more after that first one. So I would call that an absolute fucking success. There you go. So I cannot recommend enough making a ritual like this if you also struggle with sticking to like an actual workout plan. It was very, very helpful. I hope you have enjoyed Voice Over Me. Now back to the regularly scheduled programming. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope that you enjoyed, and if you did, please leave a comment, any questions, comments, or concerns, and give the video a like and subscribe if you would like to see or hear more from me. Also to be along for the journey of this two-month rune journey with me. I will be making a video each month for each rune. So I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Stay crafty and stay kind.